All right, what up YouTube? We are back at it today. We got a fun video. Just picked up a new project last night that I'm excited to show you guys what it is. Hopefully get it running, see what we can do with it today. But we got to clear out the garage, make some space to bring it up here. Got another project on the bench. This is a KTM 500 two-stroke that we're getting ready to do a new top end on. So we'll clear off the bench, clear off the welding stand, clear up the garage, and show you what that new project is. So toss down a time lapse. Alrighty guys, so here is the new bike. Just bought this yesterday, and as I'm sure you guys can see from the thumbnail, we have a 1985 Yamaha TY350. Okay, it's an old trials bike. Found this on Craigslist the other day. Guy was selling it in the parts section. So we will get to tearing into this today, see if we can get it to one roll. It seems though both wheels are locked up, not wanting to spin. And then see if we can clean out the carburetor and get this thing to fire over a little bit. But it's a pretty clean bike. I mean, obviously it's an 85, so like seats super shot, plastics are shot, but it's got some DID rims, just stock. The motor looks pretty good. Sat out in the weather, so the head's, pretty weathered. Got some wear and tear from boots, but looks pretty good to me. So we'll see if we can get this thing running today and take you along for the ride. All right, so the seller who I picked this up from sold it to me as a non-roller. And I thought that was interesting because I was like, oh no, everything's there. Like, it's not missing a motor. Because normally when you hear roller, it's pulled the motor and you just get the rolling chassis. But then when I got there, I realized, no, it's not rolling. I found neutral. It seems to shift. Front tire too, locked up. So I'm having a little debate of, okay, do I try to free up these wheels or do I try to get the motor going? Like, what do I do first? So I think I'm going to cut off this chain. This thing is crusty. Like right here. What is that? There's rust sitting inside there? I couldn't tell you. So I have no clue. So we're going to work on getting this thing off and then try to get the wheels freed, and then we'll work on the motor, I think. So maybe a bit backwards that some of you might do it, but I think that's what we'll start with first. All right, so I got this chain off and it is crusty. It had a memory for sure. Good thing, or nice thing to see though, is bike's in neutral and it can roll over. So we like to see that. Still, back wheels not moving, so that can get freed up. This can get still freed up. But let's start playing with this motor now that we know it's in neutral. Kick it over and see how the motor feels. Okay, so the seller, he was selling this thing for $75, so I didn't even bother trying to lowball him or really tire kick or check this thing out. I just got there, handed him my money, loaded it, and got out of there before he changed his mind. So with that, I didn't even throw a leg over it, didn't even see what this is gonna do, so let's check it out. Clutch actuates, so that's a good sign. So yeah, let's see what we're working with. All right, seems just a little bit locked up. Don't want to force nothing, but that's not going anywhere. So got some more digging to do. All right, guys, so I'm taking off the plastics in the tank to just check out a little bit more of, what's going on here. And, I too, when I don't have an air filter, just use a rag. I mean, come on. What are we doing? I mean, I kept everything out. Airbox looks nice and clean. But come on. Just an old shop rag or towel that you cut up and just put on the cage. What are we doing? So, yeah, it's coming off pretty good. So, undo the last bolt on the tank. And what's nice, so it is Siemens seized. There is a spark plug in it. So, hopefully no water was getting in it that way. I don't know which way this was leaning. There's a possibility some water came in through the exhaust, but we'll see. So we'll just keep chugging away and see what we find. But that's a gem. Okay, guys, so we have the plastics off, we have the exhaust off, and something that is really nice to see is, might have to get some light, but the piston is all the way up. So it's really nice to see that there wasn't any water coming in through the exhaust. The exhaust is really rusty on the inside. There's a bunch of dirt and debris that all came out of it. Not the rubber chunk, but all that rust and corrosion. But with the piston all the way up, that's really nice to see. So hopefully water didn't come in through the intake side of things and the bottom end's all rusty, but we will just keep digging. Alrighty, guys, so we kicked and kicked and it didn't even budge. So what we're gonna do is gonna have to pull the motor out and check it out outside of the frame and get things loosened up. It's either the rings have just created
a ridge above them and they're just not going to move. The piston is pretty high in its stroke right now, so there could be just a ridge and it's just not moving from there. Or it could have been that water came in through the air intake, past the carb, and down into the bottom end, and we have, you know, we could have a bottom end that's full of water. We could have main bearings that are just seized up because, again, rust and water. So we will pull the motor and check it out. So let's get to it. All right, so just started taking off this stator cover, and we're getting some drips into here. Nice clear liquid, looks like water to me, which would tell me that water came in, past the carb, down into the bottom end, past the case, crank seals. So, gotta love it. This should be a fun one. Okay guys, so I took off the flywheel, took off the stator, and put some lock washers behind the crank bolt, and then I rocked the crank back and forth and back and forth, and got the motor to make full revolution. So it's spinning over now. Hopped on top of it, and I kicked it over. Kicks just fine, looking good. So with that, we're going to check and see if we get spark, see if the stator's still working or if we have to get a new stator. So we'll plug this back in and see if we can see it making some spark. All right, and we got some spark. I'll get you guys in on this. All right, so there's our spark plug. All right, let me try getting this a little bit more focused for you. I'm sorry, guys. Let's get you on the tripod. I got shaky hands when I'm kicking this thing over by hand. All right, maybe you'll see it there. There we go. There we go, got some spark. So now let's clean out the carburetor. All right, so I'm gonna take this carburetor off. We have 2 hose clamps, just with some tiny Phillips screws. Prior to doing that though, we are going to grab a heat gun and warm up this plastic so we don't mess up the intake boots. Just got the carb back on the bike, so now have to just hook up the spark plug, get some gas down into the carb, and see if we can get this thing to run. Oh, gotta put the exhaust back on. So we'll get to doing that and see if we can get this thing to fire. Alright, let's see if we can get this unit to fire. Some decent compression. No clutch hooked up. Got a kill switch, hopefully works. Kill switch doesn't work. Got the bike to run. All right, so we got the bike to run. Started for just a second. The kill switch didn't work, so had to pop off the spark plug boot to quit spark on it, but fired over. Really glad to see that. So now we're going to work on the wheels. So we're gonna pull off the back wheel and see if it's a brake issue that's got it locked up or if it's bearings, an axle, and see what we can get done with that. All right, so we got the back tire wheel off the bike, and gonna tear it back into this drum and see what's going on back here. I'm very suspicious that it was the brakes that are locked up. Axle came out actually pretty easy. So sad to see we have a spoke that's broken. Somebody zip tied it, so obviously they knew it was an issue. So yeah, we'll tear into this hub and see what we can find when it comes to the brakes. All right, so we got the back wheel freed. I think it was just the brakes were just stuck a little bit. So pulled off the drum, cleaned things up a little bit, some cleaner, Scotch-Brite. I'm gonna do the same thing to the front. Oh, we also greased up the back axle. So do the same thing to the front so we don't have to use these piano dollies anymore to just roll this thing around. We have some wheel bearings on the way, so we'll do it right.
in a bit. So pull this off and get to doing that one as well. All right, so it turns out the inside of this bolt has a hex. And the only thing I can find that fits in there to unthread this was a bolt. I don't have any Allens that big. I don't know what size this is. Probably be pretty easy to tell just with a socket. But what I'm gonna do is, this was sheared off. I'm gonna clean that up. I'm going to weld it to this rod and just make my own wrench. So let's get to it. All right, so globbed on some more weld, kind of strengthen up the head of that, and now should work. All right, and we took the front wheel out, got the axle all the way spun out. Again, had to use that makeshift tool. Here it is. So just welded that bolt onto just a rod so we could get some leverage on it. Let's figure out what size that is. So if any of you happen to have a 40-year-old trials bike and they're looking for, okay, it's not 10, it's probably 12 mil. Yeah. So 12 mil head of a bolt is what is used to get that axle out. So again, just welded that up. Pulled the axle out. Had to detach this bolt to get some tension off of the brake line. And then this entire hub assembly comes out. Cleaned up the brake pads, cleaned up the drum on the inside of the hub. And then we re-greased the axle, slid it back in, tightened everything up, put it back together. And now we should have a rolling bike. That's so much easier to move around in here. Previously it was putting it on piano dollies or just picking it up. So bike's rolling. We have some more parts coming in. So we'll get a chain for this, have some wheel bearings coming in, some case bearings and seals, and new tires and tubes and grips and kill switch. So with all of those parts put on here, we should have a running, hopefully stopping, decent machine, and see if we can get it flipped. All right, so we are cleaning up the garage. Had to go get my dog. Our apartment's above the garage. He saw me open it and he started crying, so he had to come down. So this is Baxter, everybody. He's a really good boy. So we are still cleaning up the garage, and then we have to retuck this wiring loom coming off the stator back under the frame so the gas tank doesn't pinch it. Have to unplug the stop kill switch, and then we'll clean up the skid plate and start putting things back together. Clean up the muffler on the back end of the exhaust, and yeah, get to working on this. All right, so this isn't the kill switch that I ordered, but I found it in my spare parts and it works. So yeah, you keep it, that is on, and then when you want to kill it, you just hit the big one. I'll go back to on, kill it, it's a big one. So seems a little weird because I would have had it be that's on, and then you want to kill it, hit the small one, but just how the cookie crumbles. I tried swapping the wires, still didn't help. So that is how that's working. And then threw the tank back on, and we're gonna just start piecing this back together. So I'll throw you up on a tripod and get to time lapsing. All right, so the Amazon man delivered. Got some new grips, new kill switch, even though we figured out the kill switch already, and a new chain. So I'm gonna throw the chain on. I threw some air in the tires, and surprisingly they held air. So the tubes aren't shot, tires are shot. Got new tubes and tires already. Tubes are here, tires are coming, so should be able to throw the chain on and some grips and give this thing a little ride around the parking lot. See what it's like. Alrighty, so with that, we have some grips on. They're a little short on this side. Fits really good on throttle tube, actually. Have a new chain on. So got to wait for the foam to dry out. It's really wet. I don't want to wrap it and have that be just trapping on all the moisture. But we should be able to hook up the gas line, throw a little bit of gas in this, and go take it for a little rip. See how it does. So we got the bike running, and I was able to take it for a ride. I replaced the seat and put the new front tire on. Got the bike all put together. I held off on the back tire. It was just a little out of my expertise, but got it all together and got it listed, and ended up trading this bike for another bike, and you'll be seeing that in the next video. This video was put out about 2 years after I got rid of this bike, so sorry for any gaps and for the length of it, but thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.